Hey guys, welcome to the 2 a.m. pipe on the patio. Today I'm smoking my 320 St. Nicholas from, I believe, 2021. It might have been 2022, but I think it's 2021. This was a gift from Mark, the Welsh piper. It's a wonderful pipe. And I'm smoking some G&H Brown Irish Twist from February 28th, 2020, actually. So it's almost 4 years old. And it is wonderful. Oh man, it is good. I believe that may be the last of my 2020 Brown Irish Twist. I may have a little bit left. I may have about that much left down in the cellar of it. I did have a big giant jar of it from 2020 at one point. Now I have a big jar of that from like 2022 and another big jar of it, new stuff that I have down there cellaring. I try and keep a couple of years worth of Black Irish Twist and Brown Irish Twist down there. At least a year's worth, 2 years worth down there. Of the Black Irish Twist. I smoke the Black Irish Twist a lot more than the Brown Irish Twist, so I try to keep at least a year or 2 years worth cellaring down there, so that what I'm smoking is at least 2 years old. That's my goal. Especially the Black Irish Twist. The new stuff is so hard to light. I like to have at least 2 years age on it when I'm smoking it. It makes it a little easier to light. The Brown Irish Twist isn't bad at all. The new stuff, you can light that easy. But the Black Irish Twist, having a couple of years age on that really helps. But man, this Brown Irish Twist is just a delight. When you get some age on it, oh boy, it is delicious. So I was chatting with Piper Dave 2023 in his comments on one of his videos, and he was talking about his drive to his house in Montana, or Wyoming. I'm sorry, Wyoming. I have family in Montana, so I was thinking about Montana when I was talking about that, driving that trip. He was talking about driving I-80. And I used to drive that I-80 every year when I would go from San Diego to Sturgis. And so I was talking to Dave about driving that I-80 from San Diego to Sturgis every year, and how there was no there at certain parts of that I-80. It was just, there was nothing. There was no there. It was just desolate nothingness. You know, you'd go for an hour and a half, and there was nothing. You'd see nothing but wide open space. And an occasional gas station, maybe. There was a big truck stop just as you got into Wyoming. We'd always stop there and fill up, because we'd do a straight shot from San Diego to Sturgis. And so we'd stop there and we'd get our little shots of, I forget what they call those things, but I'd get 3 or 4 of those, and I was always ready for the trip. I wasn't driving a motorcycle, I was driving a vehicle with all the gear in it. Well, because my band was playing there, and but we were was an amazing drive every time. I always loved it. But Dave wanted me to tell some Sturgis stories. I don't have a lot of Sturgis stories. We were in the actual Sturgis city. We stayed in the city. They had a band house where we stayed at, and we were right directly across the street from the police station. So there wasn't a whole lot going on there, and you had to go kind of the outskirts into where the Full Throttle was and stuff like that. That's where all the craziness was going on. But the first year I went, literally right around the corner from where we were staying, right around the corner from the police station, is the Hells Angels clubhouse. And one day, the Mongols decided to walk into the Hells Angels clubhouse. Hells Angels and the Mongols don't get along at all. And at Sturgis, the police come from all the neighboring cities, states, towns, counties. They come from all over for Sturgis. Sturgis only has a little tiny police department. There's police from everywhere in Sturgis during Sturgis. Sturgis is, for those of you who don't know, it's a tiny little town, like maybe 1,000 people, and you get 75,000 bikers coming into this little town. And that's not an exaggeration. That's literally. Well, the Mongols decided to go into this Hells Angels clubhouse. So there's a big battle going on in the street right outside the Hells Angels clubhouse. And all heck breaks loose. Police are coming from everywhere. I mean, there are sirens. They're locking down the streets. we don't know what's going on. You know, we're like right across the street from the police department. We don't know what's going on. We just know that there are police everywhere. The streets are closed down, police everywhere. We have a music stage right by the police station where we're playing music. So they arrest a bunch of Hells Angels, a bunch of Mongols. And they got them all in the police station across the street from where we're playing. The chief of police comes over and I mean, it was a big deal. They closed down everything. They closed down I think it was the One-Eyed Jacks, which is the bar right on the corner there. We were playing right on the corner across from the One-Eyed Jacks. Which was 2011. So it was 13 years ago. The chief of police comes over to us the next day and he says, well, guys, you got a captive audience and they can hear everything you're playing. And so he was really cool to us. He was great. He loved what we were doing, and we were playing blues stuff and some gospel music, and so he loved that we were playing some gospel stuff. He goes, maybe those guys will get something out of that. And so he loved it. He just was thrilled to death that we were throwing gospel stuff in there, and they were very kind to us, and we had a good time, and it was always fun. Always fun. We always played that same place every year, and it was Blues on the Front Porch was what we called it. And actually, I think it was either NBC or CBS. I forget which one it was. Came and did a story on us one year. And Harry Smith was the guy who did it. I got pictures I'll post right here. And they did a nice little story on their Sunday evening newscast about us. And it was fun. We had a great time there every time we went. I went for, I think, 5 years in a row I did it. We played there. And it was always a good time, always a fun time. There was some crazy stuff going on, always, and we weren't even in the craziness of it. But there was always crazy stuff going on, even in the city part of it. But outside of the city, there was no law, no rules. In the city, there were rules. You had to have your bikes off the street by midnight. And one of the best memories I ever had, I think I talked about this once before, was sitting on the stage at like 2 a.m. It was pouring rain. Actually, it was like about 10:30, I guess it was, and it was pouring rain. They closed down the stage because it was lightning and everything, so they closed down the stage early. I was sitting on the stage with Mark Mason, who's from Virginia. He was one of the guys who was playing there. He's also in the Blues Hall of Fame. And Scott Hazen, who's a drummer from Florida, he played drums with me in Sturgis every year. He's also in the Blues Hall of Fame. And the three of us were sitting on the stage, lights out. All the lights were out. They had closed down the stage. They put up all the they dropped down these canvas sidings on the stage so that the rain didn't get on the stage and stuff. So we're just sitting on stools in the middle of the stage in this thunderstorm, this lightning storm. And on one side of the stage, you could kind of see out off to the side. So you could see the lightning and stuff through this little opening on the side. So we were just sitting on the stage, and Mark and I were smoking pipes. Mark was a pipe smoker as well, and Scott was smoking his cigarette. The three of us were sitting in the middle of the stage on little stools in the middle of this raging storm, lightning, thunder, in the dark. And the only light coming through was the lightning that would come through that little crack in we had opened up one little crack in the canvas so we could kind of get some light coming through from outside. And we had one little light bulb shining, and that was all the light we had. That was one of the coolest memories I've ever had smoking my pipe, was sitting with Mark and Scott, smoking my pipe in Sturgis, in pretty much the dark, just talking with those guys. And I think we sat out there well past midnight, hour and a half, 2 hours at least, smoking pipes, just talking, getting to know each other. I didn't know Mark that well. I had met Mark at Daytona Bike Week earlier in 2011, in February, I think it was, or March, at Daytona Bike Week. And then we went to Sturgis and hooked up again in Sturgis. And same with Scott. I met Scott at Daytona. Scott's from Deltona in Florida. When he came to Sturgis, and I just always used him for drums. He's a great drummer, incredible drummer. And then I would bring my bass player usually with me, and we would just use Scott on drums because he was just phenomenal. And we had a blast, but God, it was just so much fun sitting on that. I think I did a video years ago on my three favorite memories of smoking a pipe. You can look it up on my videos. That was one of them. But yeah, that was a crazy day that day when the Hells Angels and the Mongols had a brawl. A couple guys got stabbed. I don't think there was any shooting. They didn't do any shooting. It was all knives. They knew better than to do any shooting. I don't think anybody died, but There was a couple of stabbings. Man, it was crazy. There were police everywhere. I mean, the streets were just filled with police cars. They came from everywhere. Ambulances. So that was my welcome to Sturgis. It was like the first day I was there. But we used to love just walking up and down the streets in Sturgis and just watching people watch, you know. That was the fun thing to do. And we'd do that every day. And, you know, the music started about 1 o'clock and we'd go till about 8 o'clock at night. And you'd play. They'd have a time when our band would play, and then we'd be done. We could go do whatever we wanted. And we had guys from Mississippi and Missouri and Virginia. This was when I was living in San Diego. And Florida. And these guys were so much fun. I mean, I never laughed so hard. Larry Howard from Grinder Switch. I don't know if you guys remember the band Grinder Switch. He would come and play. Larry was one of my all-time musical heroes, and he wound up becoming a very good friend of mine. And I had met him in Canada, playing in Canada, and he told me about this Sturgis thing, and I wound up doing the Sturgis thing through him, but I wound up playing with Larry and all over the country, Kansas and Arizona, Florida, Sturgis, Canada. We did a lot of gigs together, and Larry was such an amazing man. He was just an amazing man. I'll put a picture of me and Larry right here. And in Canada, they used to do what they called the Larry Howard Midnight Jam at these blues festivals in Canada that we played at. And at midnight, all the bands anybody from any of the bands that played, Larry would hold a midnight jam. And this was a tradition that he did it at a lot of the blues jams that he would play at, a lot of the blues festivals that he would play at. He'd do these midnight jams. So he would do these in Canada, and man, they were so much fun. Guys from different bands would come up on stage and jam with him, and gosh, we had so much fun. I got some recordings of some of those, and I got a recording of, he had my band back him up in Canada a couple times, and on his shows, and then we did the jams too, and I got live recordings off the soundboard of those. It's just so nice to have those now that he's gone. And I have actual video of my band in Canada, but I can't figure out how to put it from the disc that it's onto YouTube. It used to be on YouTube. My bass player had put it up, and then he took it down. I've got it on a DVR. I can't figure out how to put it up, but I'd love to get it up on YouTube. I don't know how to do it. I'm old. I've tried again and again trying to figure it out, and I can't do it. And it's in some weird format that they put it on the disc on, and I don't know how to transfer it from that onto YouTube. But anyway, so that's my story. That was the only real crazy thing that happened in Sturgis. Most of the time in Sturgis, it was just regular fun stuff, nothing crazy. You know, you had the girls running around flashing stuff and that kind of stuff, but nothing nuts happening. I was married, so I wasn't looking, I picked up some cool knives in Sturgis when I was there. One of them was a Boker automatic knife, which I carried for years in California. I didn't even know it was illegal to have in California. I carried it every day with me for years. One of my buddies was an ICE agent, and I showed it to him, and he goes, "Yeah, you know what? You probably shouldn't carry that with you. It's legal to own. You just can't carry it." So and I can carry it here, and I think I gave it to my nephew in California when I left. So I need to get an automatic knife now. I'm looking to get a Benchmade Presidio automatic, because I carry Presidios all the time that's my everyday carrying. Someday I want to get an automatic, but they're so dang expensive that I just don't know. I don't know if I'll ever spend the money on an automatic again. Back then I had the money. But anyway, Dave, that one was for you. It's almost 30 minutes. All right, guys, I will catch you later. Have a good one. God bless. Have fun. Do something crazy. Get out of your comfort zone. And enjoy life. Love you guys. God bless.